Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of Manlius Town Board, October 30th, 2023 at 4 p.m. We are virtual, so we have our Zoom up, and we are streaming to our website, Facebook, and to YouTube. I will lead us to allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so everybody knows, we have a resolution and agreements on the agenda. We have extra copies up here on the side table if anyone's interested. With that, I'll hand it off to Councilor Waters.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Deere. And thank you to all of you who are here, including our partners in the villages and our chief of police and our attorneys for all parties and our PBA. So we, as you may know, there's been a discussion about the 1984 formation agreement for the police department. And we all agreed it needed to be updated. We sent over in August, the town sent to the villages a draft of an update. And this month, pretty recently, the villages sent back a version that they had all discussed with their trustees and were ready to adopt. And we took a look at it and made the villages agreement and made some small updates, and we discussed those with the mayors this morning. And in theory, and hopefully also in practice, based on this version that we have here, we think we're in good shape to go forward with it. Certainly there may be some tweaks, there could be formatting, but we're really almost there, and we'll continue to make this happen. So with that, we're also time crunched because the 1984 agreement requires us to say that we will be not observing it in 2024 by a certain date. We have to give notice. So in the same, we prepared both the agreement and a resolution that says that we don't need the resolution to leave the agreement. We can rescind it if we go ahead and sign this version that we have. Or some agreement that some version of it that's nearly there. And that's what today is about. Have I covered all the points?
I think so.
Okay.
So, Councilman Nicholson, would you go ahead and read us the resolution?
Sure. Resolution to update the 1984 police agreement. Whereas in 1984, the villages of Manlius, Fayetteville, and Manila, collectively the villages, entered into an intermunicipal agreement entitled Agreement Pursuant to Section 1190 of the General Municipal Law within the town of Manlius, which contemplated the abolishment of the then existing village police departments and the creation of the town of Manlius Police Department. Whereas the town of Manlius Police Department has been providing police protection in the villages and throughout the town since 1985. Whereas the town board intends to operate the Manlius Police Department in the same manner and practice as it has since 1985, including police protection in the villages and town-wide with the same superior level of service that all of the town and village residents have come to rely upon. Whereas the town and villages have had productive conversations on reaching an updated agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that, 1, to the extent the agreement is still enforceable, and for the town to protect its rights under the agreement, the town hereby withdraws from the agreement pursuant to Section 16 of that agreement. 2, that the Manlius Police Department has been established with the agreement and pursuant to the authority vested in the town under Section 150 of town law, and shall continue in all aspects and respects as a department of the town. And 3, further resolved that the town board reserves the right to rescind this resolution if the town board and the village boards can agree to compromise language pursuant to the productive conversations that have already taken place between the villages and the town.
So, to kind of summarize, just to be clear, if this resolution is adopted, we're still in the agreement until December 31st. There will be until December 31st and following, no changes with police services, with access to the chief by the village mayors, with the police committee. And our goal here is to simply move on from this 1984 agreement, with, a pretty great agreement, that's been circulated to the mayors and police committee. And really, in a spirit of cooperation and working together, move forward with an agreement that we can all agree to, that we all believe is enforceable, and, continue the great work we've been doing. So with that, are there any other comments from the board? Okay. Would you like to make a motion to adopt the resolution?
Sure, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution to update the 1984 police agreement as presented.
I'd like to second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
I'm sorry. I understand it's not a public hearing, I'm going to try to make a brief comment with your permission on behalf of the villages.
Could you say your name?
Yes, my name is Brad Hunt, I'm from Hughes Law Firm.
Would it make more sense for us to have you come to the podium?
I'd be happy to do that.
Let's do that. Thank you.
I appreciate you're letting me speak. My name is Brad Hunt. I'm the village lawyer for the village of Manlius, and I'm here with my partner Ted Spencer, who's the village attorney for the village of Fayetteville. Thank you so much. We've been working with Tim Proteshi, the town attorney, on the revised agreement, and I agree with what Councilor Waters said, that we've made excellent progress, and I think we all think that we should be able to reach agreement on a revised agreement that will work for everyone. The one point that I would want to raise about this resolution as it's currently drafted is simply that if the parties continue to be negotiating in good faith at the end of this year, so December 31st comes and we're still talking, still working on it, then I don't think that it'd be helpful for the withdrawal from the agreement to automatically take effect. And you already have a provision written in here, number 3, that the town board reserves the right to rescind this resolution if the town and the villages can agree to compromise language. So the one point I would request on behalf of the villages of Manlius and Fayetteville is that you also just add to that point 3 that the town board reserves the right to rescind this resolution if the town and village boards can agree on compromise language or are still negotiating in good faith to reach a resolution.
No, I think the major point of this resolution here is to exercise our rights under the current agreement. And while the original draft was presented to the police committee on August 23rd, the villages have had over 60 days to work on that internally. And we feel very confident after the conversation that was had this morning with Councilor Waters and the mayors, that 60 days is more than enough to make sure that this agreement gets into a place that we are all happy with.
And just to be clear, the request that I'm making would still leave it with the town, that you would have to, you would have the right to rescind the resolution if you wish, if come December 31st.
Absolutely.
Then
Which is
the
our
parties are still negotiating.
Yeah.
So that's,
what we
as
want.
long as that's understood, if that can be reflected in the resolution, then we have no objection to
We're
this.
just, I mean, at the end, let's be practical about this and for the world. If there's something were to blow up, we are negotiating in good faith. You can hold us to that. But if something were to blow up that the mayors do not have control over, they are in favor of this too. We do not want to be in a position where we're having to abide by the 1984 agreement as of January 1st, just because it said, I mean, that's really the practical matter.
I understood. I guess what I'm,
We understand that nobody wants that.
Well, and if I may, what I think would make sense for us is we would happily commit to acting as if, all of the things that organize the police committee that lay out responsibilities, we would not ignore this. We would continue to convene the police committee into next year, but the issue is the 1984 agreement is pretty specific language. And we're gonna exercise our rights under that agreement, but our intention is for the police committee to continue operating as per this draft that we've, and also to following the many years that it has been operating.
His language isn't saying that we would ask that this resolution would be rescinded if they're still operating in good faith. He's saying that we have the right to rescind if we're still negotiating in good faith, not that it's absolutely going to rescind if we're operating in good faith. He just wants to add that language in.
Well,
So that we have the option to rescind.
and if we were to rescind this while we're negotiating good faith and the negotiation did not work out, we would still be stuck into the 1984 agreement.
Right, but we're not automatically going to rescind it.
This feels like a prenup.
Yeah, I think what the supervisor just said most recently actually goes a long way towards what we were hoping to accomplish, is that just if we are still negotiating and don't have a finalized signed agreement on December 31st, it's understood that you'll continue to operate with the police committee convening and operate under that agreement.
Okay, Brad,
And
Under which agreement?
wait a second, Brad,
yes,
question. We had asked at one point, we were wondering, is there, we're worried about the 60 days notice. I guess we've already given them. But
and
the
I'm-
waiver piece, or I don't know.
And I'm totally fine. I think the villages understand that, today you're exercising your notice, right? And we're not asking you to give that up at all. My only point is to say that, okay, you've satisfied your notice. If we are still working on this when January 1st comes, it's not automatic that the withdrawal happens and the police committee ends.
No,
The village, then, we can continue working on it and potentially reach a final signed agreement, sometime in next year. I mean, it'd be great if we can get it done before then. I think we all hope for that, but we don't want the police committee to be done.
No,
And-
and that's, I mean, Will, if you would like to chime in on how we might add some language to do that, but just on the understanding that as of January 1st, we will not be looking at the 1984 agreement to oversee the operations of the police committee. We'll be looking at this draft, or the general idea that has guided the police committee since 1984.
Okay,
We would still include it in our organizational meeting, they would still schedule their meetings, there would still be conversations, there would still be access for all the mayors to the chief of police, nothing would change. But I do worry about putting something in here that says, if we get to January 1st without an agreement, our goal is to make it clear, on January 1st, the town is ready to put to bed the 1984 agreement and move forward towards something better. But
that's something we'll still include the police committee convening
yes.
in accordance with this revised
Mhm.
agreement, even if that's not in a final signed form yet.
Yeah,
And
so-
if the record could, and the resolution could reflect that, I think that would go a long way, towards, just assuring us that this will work out to everybody's
So what
satisfaction.
language did you, I think I understand a bit,
Yeah.
now what his original point was, I think failed to understand that initially. So I'm not saying that I'm interested in that language, but what is it that you had recommended that we?
Can I say what I think it is? We're concerned about what happens. The agreement now, because we are exercising notice, January 1st comes, we're still in the middle of discussions, which I would not say we are. It doesn't automatically go away, but what Brad was open to, as I understand it, is us saying in here, it will go away January 1st, but if we're still negotiating, but we will abide by everything that's in here.
Yeah, what I would suggest for
But we
your
haven't adopted,
consideration.
have we did,
no.
We're going to,
that's the next
that's what we're asking.
What I would suggest for your consideration is just add a point 4 that says something like this. If the parties continue to be negotiating the revised agreement as of January 1st, 2024, then the town will continue to convene the police committee and to act in accordance with this revised draft agreement while the negotiations remain pending.
I don't understand how we can do that, we haven't.
Well, we will still organize the police committee in our organizational meeting, we'll still, all of the things that are basically what we're saying is, if we have not reached an agreement by January 1st, we will operate under this agreement, even though we have adopted it, hasn't been signed by the parties, but the town will operate as if this agreement had been signed by all parties.
We haven't adopted this yet.
That's right.
That's-
In a couple minutes. And everybody can individually do what they want to do, of course, but
So I don't see why we need to add.
Well, I understand, they just wanna make sure that there's some assurance that we can still operate the police committee as intended, kind of.
Doesn't it, I mean, we want, the goal is to get this done, there's enough time.
Yes.
So is this that is the goal, we're all on the same page. We can't control human beings, and if we cannot control the situations. One of the things that's really been interesting about this process, and what has illuminated things for me, is that the tensions that arise when you work with three executives versus with a legislative body, how difficult it is. So, you know, we are not a monolith, and John is our leader in lots of ways, but we're still have equal votes
But there's-
versus that, yeah.
But there's a lot of people involved.
Right, a lot of.
So, Will, do you feel confident that we have, with the minutes reflecting this conversation, that we can update this resolution after the fact, with the understanding that we would be adding language in a fourth point to say that if an agreement is not reached. Well, this is the language.
No, I get this language, we're gonna be adding this.
Okay, so,
Maybe we should just hammer out the language.
so a point four. We'll say,
So if still negotiating, the town will continue to, the parties will continue to.
So, let me tell you the notes that I have before it got too fast for me to be taking notes. And so I wrote tape down next to it, which was my plan, but being clear right now would be very good for me, especially since it appears that a lot of this is gonna hinge on what I put in the minutes and then also what we add to the amended resolution. If the parties continue to, be negotiating the revised agreement, and then effective continuing past January 1st. Now you go.
This is a good faith.
so, read that one for me.
If the parties continue to be negotiating the revised agreement continuing past January 1st, 2024.
So negotiate good faith past
2024.
that the town will recognize the revised agreement and continue to operate the police committee as pursuant to the adoption.
Restate.
Yeah, we should title it something so that we know what we're referencing.
Okay.
Like, what do we want to call it then?
Well, the amended restated.
Yeah.
Amended.
Maybe that was adopted by the
Yeah.
board at the.
Yeah, so let's do this. Allison and Will, why don't you guys hash out the final language and then we'll add that to the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just get some waiting music.
It's really just provision 3, is referencing the role, responsibility, and function of the police committee, it's not the rest of this agreement, we're not agreeing to it until it's agreed to.
Right. That's helpful, because I think that's what Elaine's comment on too.
It's part of the spirit and intent of the collaboration, cooperation of municipalities to keep that function of the advisory committee going despite the negotiations may be still happening on January 1st. I get it, it's good.
But we still like,
Yeah,
We
that's
still-
everyone's intent is to have this signed and done before it's on the first.
Absolutely.
Okay. If the parties continue to be negotiating in good faith past December 31st, 2023, the town will operate pursuant to the amended and restated agreement in its current form. And by current form, we mean whatever you have negotiated to at that point, not how it sits today.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll put in its current form as of that date. How about that?
Any other notes? Comments? Questions?
So you want to state again, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Go through the resolution.
Mr. Supervisor, now I would like to make a motion for a resolution to update the 1984 police agreement as amended tonight, discussion.
And I'd like to second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And the first amendment, the first motion is withdrawn.
So with that, we have the agreements that we have sent over to the mayors and the police committee that was discussed this morning. There's a notable change in, I believe it's section 3D, it's just reads to provide input and recommendations to the town board regarding employing and discharging the chief of police Department in accordance with the law and as the committee members deem necessary, as well as an update to section 6 that's referring to the police committee's responsibilities. And number 6, to read, the supervisor shall notify the mayor of each village in writing as soon as practical any pending changes to the status of the police chief, including but not limited to resignation, suspension, discharge, disciplinary actions, and meet with the committee as soon as practical thereafter, so that the committee may provide input and recommendations to the town regarding such matters. And there was one other very technical change having to do with the dates that the budget is, so what we did was, the intent was that, we have a budget workshop, that the police committee gets an opportunity to review the budget, so we just changed, revised it to read, as one of the responsibilities of the police committee, to review the annual budget of the department as submitted by the chief of police, and make its recommendations to the town.
Because we said an annual budget for the department, number 10, item 10 under section, sorry, just number 10.
With some questions, just 10, the annual budget for the department will be prepared by the chief of police and submitted to the police committee by time. That wasn't anywhere in the agreement for that, so that was the best way for folks to get it, I think originally, so that you can review it.
Yeah, I think the intent too is, the police committee will receive the budget electronically. We would invite the police committee to join us in the workshop session where that budget is presented, so that they can go along and make recommendations along the normal timeline for our budget process. Okay, so with that, I would throw a motion to adopt the agreement.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the amended and restated agreement pursuant to section 119.0 of the general municipal law, please.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Anything else from the board? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.